Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Tuesday, the 8th of April, 2025. Tax day a week away, keep your eye on that. And tonight at 12:01 approximately, U.S. tariffs, and that's Eastern time, U.S. tariffs, the reciprocal version, go in place. So it's an eventful time. You had a dead cat bounce today. That means the market fell hard yesterday, attempted a good rally today. It was turnaround Tuesday, and the market tried all day long until the very last part of the day to hold on. And then I think the mentality got into the market that these tariffs are really going to happen. And there's nothing going to change it. I have been in that camp, as you know, regular listeners are saying. The president will not back off on those tariffs. And the reason why is it's the only way he can get done the job that he thinks he has to do to get people to the table and get the best deal he can to remove the tariffs and get people to buy more U.S. goods. The idea that you're going to take countries that have big negative balances. In other words, the trade balance with the U.S., from their side, they're getting a lot, and from our side, we don't get a lot. It's going to improve for the U.S., but there's no reality in saying that every one of these countries is going to a zero balance with the U.S. Come on, that isn't going to happen. And I don't think it's really what's there. In a classroom, that's the idea, but in the practical world, I don't think so. So, you're in phases. Now, the phases you're in was the first phase, the taxes on Canada, Mexico. Then the takeoff phase. We went too far. We're not going to do that. Then the comeback phase. Now we're still going to get your aluminum and steel and blah, blah. Then the other phase coming in. You know something? We're putting a 10% tax on everybody, and we're going to look at the balance and come up with a reciprocal tax that we think is fair. It doesn't matter what the formula was. I made that clear to you. He could have picked a number out of the sky. He picked a number based on magic, and they came up with a reciprocal number. And while people thought he wouldn't go ahead with it, I have said consistently he would go ahead with it because that's the nature of this particular man. He gets in there, and if he backs off, he loses the art of the negotiation. The one thing you know with him, if he says he's going to hit you, he's going to hit you. If he tells Iran, we're going to hit you, he's going to hit them. All right? And the world has to believe this is not the same guy that was in office 4 years ago. He learned the political game. He's seen what they can do. He sees how they tie him up in court, and they're still trying to. So he's moving like a lightning bolt to get stuff done. The courts today did not take away his power to fire those 16,000 probationary employees. My sadness, my what can I tell you? My son's wife, what would you want me to call her? My daughter-in-law, okay? My child. She will get fired because she was on probation and bright as can be and whatever. So, you know, my son won't talk to me. I'm sure of that. He's pissed at me. Other people, same thing. The courts have also said the president has the power for deportations within the limit. The people have to have some type of hearing. They'll figure a way to make these 24-hour hearings. So you've got to understand the courts don't want to curtail the executive branch. And that's important for our society. Congress's job is to curtail the branch. So they can impeach them. They can take bills and they can veto the bills. You know, they don't have to pass them. They can pass them and the president can veto, and then they have to have them, the big majorities to get them passed. You're not getting that breakup. So this was a win day as far as I'm sure Trump was thought, and for me, a very sad day for the personal reason that I told you. As for what's going to happen, well, first, let's look at tomorrow's numbers and see what we have coming out. You have the reciprocal tariffs hitting at 12:01 tonight. You've got the Mortgage Bankers Association numbers at 6 in the morning. They'll probably just be glimpsed over and gone. Wholesale inventories will get a little more attention because we'll already see the tariff plan where the market's at that hour. People are wide open in America at 9 with their eyes and they see what's happening. You're going to get petroleum estimates. The Richmond Fed President Barkin's going to speak at the Economic Club. Be interesting if he answers any of the questions about this or offers an opinion. And the FOMC minute notes at 1 o'clock. So I gave you an idea as to what I was talking about in my phases. So we're coming to the next phase now, and it's important you understand that. You went through all those phases. There's no tariffs, then there's the 10%, then I'm going to do the reciprocal. Now he does it. The very next phase is the negotiation phase to end it. And if I were the president, you run at this as fast as you can. Why? He knows very well the stock market's falling and falling hard. That will not help him in his bid to get things done with the American people or his own party. Number two, now everybody knows how serious he is. So as he makes the first deal, I don't know who it'll be with, he has to set the standard for what other deals can be. There's no saying he can make up and say, that corporation is exempt in your country. We'll let you do whatever they have to do because that helps us, of course. But it's more likely to be phased out reciprocal tariffs. I don't know that on the first one he does, that he says the whole thing's off and now we're buddies and this is it. Is he better off with you do this, we'll do this, and you can work it out in phases with us? That could be it. I don't know what happens, how he views the deficit budgets. That will be the important part. But what you can count on is the negotiations are going underway now. They'll pick up in steam now. That you've already heard from Scott Bessent that these will take days and weeks. Didn't say months. That is very good. Had he said months, we don't have that time. The numbers are going to get worse and worse because everybody's tomorrow freezing. They're going to get nervous. Now, you and I aren't going to the store and the Hershey bar you want, I'm making this up, of course, is going up necessarily 20%, or the pair of socks at Costco is going up 25% tomorrow. But stuff coming in will. And some of these tariffs are so large, there's no getting out of them. Imagine 104% like China. All right, let's take a look at Rocket. Rocket gets hit today, and it should. First of all, is anybody watching that the 30-year bond yield is soaring again? Why? I don't know. The others are not doing that, so something is going on. I read reports, guesses is how I'm going to call them, that maybe China's dumping some of their treasuries. They have the second largest holding. Japan has the largest holding. That could be the case, driving yields up, making Trump's life a little more miserable in the process, because as they sell, in order to find a buyer, they'll offer a higher yield. Got it? They'll take a loss on that, but that's their pressure on the U.S. in addition to the other things they'll do. That could be what's going on. So this is pulling back. But again, we triple topped. You and I were here, we've talked about it, and that was your resistance point. The market has not had a trend. Forget today's break. You still had a lower low, higher high. The market made one run up and it got up for the first time again. 3 times that it's done this in recent time now. I should say the third time. The 200-week average, 200-day average, it's a daily chart, with the combination of the Bollinger Band. And that has held the market each one of the times. Why would this be different? So that was my thinking as to why I wanted to look at it. Do I believe this benefits after the first deal is made? Yes. Do I think this benefits if the Fed is forced into the market to save the economy? No. You'll say, but that's going to lower rates. And I'm going to say, yeah, but everybody's scared out of their mind. What benefits this to me is that first deal that's done, get a blueprint, and now the market psychology goes the other way. That's what I'd like to see. I'm just laying out a game plan. And by the way, I can be 100% off, and I often am. Higher high, coming back down. The trend is down in Orly. getting hit in this. I'm looking for support here, but many of their auto parts, and that's why I showed it, many of their auto parts are made abroad. They're going to have all kinds of tariffs on them. I don't know if you saw today, CNBC had the CEO of Snap-on, the tools, and it was a fabulous interview. Because the interviewer says, I went out on my Harley and I needed a wrench to do something. I go in and I can buy a wrench in Home Depot and it was $30. I looked at the Snap-on, same wrench, over $100. Why? And of course, the owner, because we're such a great product. Well, that's not a little reality. But the reality is, what if that wrench goes to $60 or $70? Now you got a different problem. If it's made in China, that same wrench at 104% tariff, if it's made there, could be in that price range. That's the points that this was about, and you have to understand the importance of it. So I'm going to look back here and see what can happen. And by the way, the last country I believe Trump will strike a deal with, not the first, not the middle, is China. It will be the last, just because of the egos of Xi and Trump. I believe that. I believe that that's the game we're in at this point. In Home Depot, so many of their products are from abroad, getting hit. Now the tariffs are real, so their profitability goes down. How much can they pass on? How much do they want to pass on? What can they work with their suppliers? That's what's hurting it. And if you go into a recession, thing we don't want, it goes down even further, because in a recession, people will just freeze. In Google, coming on down. So you're watching how this is all getting hit and played out. Are you advertising more? I doubt it in this. People are cutting budgets, not increasing them. That can happen afterwards. You go back after your market share. But right now, AI, all the money they're throwing at it, is it really going to work? The coal-fired plants that Trump put in today that he signed all these bills on, is that real? All right. There's just so much we don't know, but you can see how it's all coming down. When we look at Netflix, somewhat insulated. I realize it's a downtrend, but the last thing you're going to do is give up your TV shows. You may not eat a meal, but you're going to keep your entertainment. You're not going to a movie theater. It's too expensive. This is what you're doing. When you go to Robinhood, so I was wondering why Robinhood is taking it on the chin, and I read today a lot of analyst notes. Because it's made up of the retail trader, they believe that that's the problem right now for Robinhood in this economic environment. The retail trader is going to pull back. The analysts, and I think they were from Morgan Stanley, I'm not sure, but I read so many reports. They're recommending that you buy a CME group, that's where the trade volume is going to hit and stay, because they have a more professional hedge type trader in there, well capitalized, so. ICE, the same thing. They even like Schwab because it's got more of that commercial end of the business. Interesting. And because I've been wondering why it's getting hit like that, and I'm certainly not reaching for it. But up here, I was thinking, boy, this looks to me like with all the volatility, it's going to go up. Well, you've got the massive volatility and it's going down. So my thinking wasn't right. This is what's happening, and I think these analysts are right. You have to have an open mind and read all the time, and you go, whoa, why did I miss that? You can't catch everything. XOM, all energy getting hit. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. As crude prices keep coming down, which is, again, part of the Trump plan, they all get hit there. Financial services. If you go into a recession, they don't do well. Have you looked at the bank stocks? 13%, 20% hits. I mean, they're getting hit all over the board. By the way, when you're looking at this, how many IPOs are we getting? I saw one, and that was it. I mean, could you think of a worse time to have an IPO? Lower highs, lower lows. The market did its darn best to get within the bands. It just couldn't do it. These markets are all oversold, but oversold is no reason to go out and buy anything. Energy Select, well, if I'm showing you the other parts, how good can this be? Getting hit 3 days under the Bollinger Band, as many of these markets are. As I said before, They can stretch to 5, and that's really pushing the envelope. And that is not a reason that you buy. I've seen them go 9. I'm just giving you what the norms are. In gold, still coming down. Interesting about gold. So you had that whole move up. Do I think anything that we're doing is bearish? No. One way or the other, this all ends up still inflationary, not deflationary, inflationary. And so this correction to me is just a correction, but people are dumping everything. You know, coming from a commodity background, we used to have markets that would lock limit. It could be for days. So people had to sell other things that were making them money to meet their calls or whatever it is. Well, that's what still happens. You get 50% leverage in the stock market. Do you sell your winners to meet your margin? That's what people do. You know, people do. And when they do that, they're hurting themselves. Without the leverage, many times you're just better off. Silver, just coming unglued right here, as is copper. Same thing. Look at this. And tonight, you're down in all these again. So they keep coming down because of recession. The canary in the mine is the copper price. Copper's used in industry everywhere. If copper starts falling, there's problems, especially when you learn to look at the London prices and American prices. They were all out of whack. They're quickly coming back in the whack. I mean, very quickly getting back into a normal relationship. So that play is over. Then the one I don't get is where's the safe haven buying? And it's not. Yields are going higher and higher. So is the market maybe saying that in order to attract money and people to buy U.S. instruments right now, you got to offer better yields, otherwise they're not going to buy it. That idea that you just run into them may not be working. I don't know. We haven't seen anything like this. I have not seen anything like this. The specifics being reciprocal tariffs, these other tariffs, the U.S. changing the world order, and I've done this my whole adult life. I've seen events, but this is the first in this, and I'll learn from it like you are. Everybody thinks everybody has the answer. Nobody has the answer. Nobody, all right? But you're in a bear play, and you want to keep your money dry. You want to keep yourself sane. You want to be able to pull the trigger at the right time, not because you have a hunch this is the bottom in the market. That'd be my words to you. Lower highs, lower lows. You could be going back to the lower Bollinger Band, as you're probably going to fight at the upper band again in the FXE. So you put it together, you come up with a plan. If you like the things I say, you probably want to get my newsletters because they really harp on what I do. And you want to get the morning videos where I say, pull the trigger on this and that. I'm the first to tell you, for the past 2 weeks, I haven't pulled much of a trigger on stocks, spiders, ETFs, or the futures markets. And guess what? I'm really proud of that. Why? My clients have been held together and I haven't done damage to them. And I think that's the key. So one more time, the way you get our information, you go to IraEpstein.com, free offers, sign up for what you want there, and I'll catch up with you first thing in the morning. It's going to be interesting. I'll close my eyes and hope for the best. Take care.